Here are the top 10 most expensive Jefferson Nickels ever sold. Our first coin is a fantastic variety coin from early on in the series' life. This is the 1939 doubled Monticello Jefferson Nickel. Despite the fact that this variety was discovered very soon after its initial release, it remained very elusive in mint state grades up until a hoard of these coins was brought to market in the late 1980s. As the name indicates, the letters of Monticello are all doubled rather distinctly, with doubling displaying towards the right of the letters. The letters of 5 cents are also all doubled, arguably to a greater effect, if for no other reason than the letters themselves being bigger, and thusly easier to spot. This example of the coin was graded by PCGS as MS67 with full steps and at auction in 2019. It attained a closing price of $23,500. The 1953 S Jefferson Nickel has a particularly undesirable reputation for being one of the worst struck coins in the series. In fact, the Full Step Nickel Club once nominated the 53S as the worst struck Jefferson Nickel in the series. This, however, opens the door to cherry-pick those rare coins that did manage to get a good strike quality after all. This MS65 graded example from PCGS is just such an example that managed to somehow get full steps. It was sold at auction in 2019 for the astounding amount of $24,000. Only a year after the Jefferson Nickel was released, the US Mint decided to strengthen some of the details on the reverse design. This became known as the reverse of 40, with the older reverse design now known as the reverse of 38, as all business strike coins from 1940 onwards featured this new reverse design. The changes mainly concerned itself with the steps on the Monticello building, with the reverse of 40 design being more defined and less, well, wavy, I suppose. However, the 1940 proof coin saw a variety where an older reverse die was used to strike a number of proof 1940 coins, with the reverse of 38 instead of the reverse of 40. This example was graded by PCGS as proof 68 and sold at auction in 2020 for the amount of $26,400. And here we have a Denver Mint circulating strike coin from 1939 that actually jumped the gun a bit and features the reverse of 40 design instead. The two reverse types, the reverse of 40 and 38, appear about with equal frequency in the market today. However, your mileage may vary depending on where you're located. The variety is remarkably challenging in grades of above MS66, and exponentially more so when you add the full steps details as a consideration. This example is the Pop 1 of this variety as MS68 with full steps and was sold at auction in 2019 for the final price of $26,400. The 1942 Denver Mint Jefferson Nickel has a total mintage of nearly 14 million coins, but it is only a small subsection of that greater mintage that we are interested in here. Specifically, one of the rarest repunched mint mark varieties in mint state for the series. The 1942 D over horizontal D coin sees the initial D mint mark punched in horizontally, or in other words, on its side, with the serifs pointing upwards and the rounding of the D pointing down. The second or final D was then struck in to correct this unintentional mistake, but we can still clearly see what is left of the first punching towards the left of the straight vertical bar of the D mint mark. This example of the coin was graded by PCGS as MS66 with full steps, and at auction in 2016 it was sold for the amount of $31,725. As an absurd knee-jerk reaction to the national coining shortage in the early 1960s, the US Mint stopped making proof sets in 1965, replacing them instead with special mint sets in 1965, 66, and 67, only resuming full-proof mintage in 1968, this time exclusively at the newly refurbished San Francisco Mint. The existence of the 1964 SMS, or Special Mint Set coins, remains a bit of a mystery, as the SMS coins were not officially issued until the next year. A prevailing theory is that these coins might have been specimen strikes to try and get the finish just right. As of recording this, PCGS has a total of 19 grading events listed in the population report for the 1964 SMS nickel. This piece was authenticated by that same service with a grade of SP68 with full steps designation added as well, and at auction in 2016 it managed to sell for the sum of $32,900. For our next entry, we travel to 1949 and the Denver Mint to find a rare over mint mark variety coin. This is the 1949 D over S Jefferson nickel, easily one of the top varieties in the series, and one you could find by searching amongst your own coins. On this coin, there was an S mint mark that was initially struck in and then almost erased by a D mint mark that was then struck over and on top of that. If you look closely at the mint mark, found just towards the right of the Monticello building on the reverse of the coin, you can still see what is left of that first S mint mark towards the top of the D, and a slight remnant of the serif, the top serif of the S, towards the top right of the D as well. This extremely attractive coin, graded by PCGS as MS67, was sold at auction in 2014 for the closing price of $32,900. 1938 was the first year of issue for the Jefferson nickel, replacing the Buffalo nickel after a service of more than 20 years. The Denver Mint issue saw a mintage of 5,376,000 coins and had a reputation for being exceptionally well struck, with mint state coins often developing a pleasing delicate golden toning. This coin is a prime example of all of this. It also holds the distinction of being one of the finest known examples of the issue, one of only 4 MS68 plus full steps grading events on the census report. In 2020, this brilliant little coin was sold at auction for the sum of $33,600. By 1969, the master hub for the Jefferson nickel was now over 30 years old, and its age was beginning to show, especially in the finer details of the coin. There had been attempts made to restore the hub and to sharpen some of the details, but the wear was just too extensive, and by 1970, a brand new master hub had to be produced. For this reason, most of the Jefferson nickels from the 1960s are considered strike rarities. In other words, not rare in absolute terms, but rare with full steps details. This 1969 D nickel from the Denver Mint is a prime example. With over 202 million coins struck for this issue, this is the only example certified with full steps. Graded by PCGS as MS65 full steps, it sold at auction in 2021 for $33,600. Despite the fact that the 1954 S nickel is easily obtainable today, it is, however, notorious for having a particularly poor strike quality. The same also counts for the 1953 nickel from the San Francisco Mint. And in fact, that would be the last such coin to come from the westernmost branch mint until it resumed coining operations in 1968. But where this coin shines is in finding an elusive full steps version. In fact, the Full Steps Nickel Club dubbed this coin as the king for its rarity as a fully struck full steps coin. This example we see here now is graded by PCGS as MS67 with the coveted full steps designation. It is the finest known, and when it last sold in 2020, the coin attained a price at auction of $35,250. Subscribe to WNN and activate all notifications with the bell icon to know when new videos are released. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you for watching, keep collecting, and have a fantastic day.